5 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning. Welcome back to the program. I'm Victor Oloo. Now it's time for us to get into the political arena and just understand what has been happening in the country and, of course, globally speaking. A lot really happened. Some were shocking, unexpected, but yes, that is all in a day's in our lives in a day. Welcome to the program. Talk to us on our social media platform. My name is Victor Oloo. You can get me on social media at Victor Oloo on all my social media handles. In studio, I have got 4 gentlemen. All right, I have got Peter Orero, Mheshimiwa, representing the great people of Kibra. we all know that. Great people of Kibra. Welcome to the program, Mheshimiwa. I have Eric Muturi wa Dure. Eric, karibu sana.
Asante, good morning.
Asante, karibu sana. And Onchori, Frank, Wakili.
Jambo.
How are you?
How are you?
And Dr. Rotich as well joining us in studio.
Hey, good morning, Oloo.
Good to see you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Great honor to have you both, all of you, in studio. And I just want to take a look at what really happened over the week. It has been an interesting week. A lot really happened, but we'll be crashing them one by one as we go by. But first of all, let me start. Mheshimiwa, you said that salamu ziko kufikia. I sent some greetings to you. Did you get my greetings? Salamu.
You know, the last 2 weeks,
yes,
the kind of greetings now is becoming different.
I sent mine. Did you receive my salamu?
Is it a metaphor? Is it the real greetings? But anyway, you know, as MPs now, when you are told you are going to be greeted,
yes,
it is not the normal greeting. It is the greetings of Gen Zs.
Yes.
They want to know really whether you are standing with them, whether you are for them, and basically whether you are for this country. That is what they are talking about.
Yes.
So I didn't receive your greetings.
You didn't receive my greetings. Yangu ilikuja. I sent mine. Muturi, good to see you after a very long time.
Good to see you. It's been
the last time you were on set here, things were not so good.
No, last time when I was here, things were much better.
Right.
That is before Gen Z started greeting waheshimiwa.
Yes.
And let me first start by hata mimi kusalimiana. Nisalimie wananchi, nisalimie watazamaji. I think in Kenya now the vocabulary keeps metamorphosizing. Now being greeted is not normal business.
Yes.
It depends on who is greeting you. But you must be proud of your country. You must be proud of the direction that we are taking. When citizens take matters of governance into their own hands to craft their own future, it is something we must be very proud of as a country. You know, Victor, the rest of the African countries have been benchmarking. You know, surprisingly, waheshimiwa go to other countries to benchmark, including MCAs, using taxpayers' money. Now other countries are using Gen Z to benchmark on how to have good governance, which I think is a good thing.
Are you trying to tell me that Mheshimiwa here, they have resorted to benchmark at home? Wakili. Prudent use of resources, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Wakili, salamu zilifika?
Mimi najua nilipeleka salamu zangu. I was on the streets with the protesters, with the Gen Zs, because of the issues that are being raised countrywide. There is a lack of accountability from our members of parliament. There is lack of transparency. There is corruption which has deep-rooted into our system. And it is paramount and important that we come out as young people and speak to this government. Na tulisema tutachuna hii masikio yao mpaka wasikie. Yeah.
Are you a Gen Z?
What do you think?
What do you think? He's sitting on the periphery. Dr. Good to see you as well. You're not a Gen Z, but you have Gen Z.
I'm neither of all of them. Although I want to say I salute the great people of this republic, the Kenyan people. And more so I salute the Gen Z for upholding the rule of law and democracy in this country. I think they have made us actually to listen to them more than ever before. And I want to say, Gen Zs, you must also uphold your own integrity as a young generation of this republic and the rule of law, so that even as we go forward, we look at you as an alternative government, even to be in the days to come. And let them stand on the ground of integrity. That is what I'm really for. Because as we are talking today, Oloo, we can see a lot of infiltration that has entered into the mainstream of the good cause and almost diverting the good intention that the GNZ has actually been fighting for. And those are some of the things we shall discuss in details of law, that this country must stand within the rule of law.
Absolutely. I think it's also important to note that while Gen Zs are being praised of being in the front line to exercise their democratic rights, I think it's also paramount to note that it's also important to operate within the Constitution so that you don't break the law. It's our right to exercise our powers. As Article 1, you all know that, but you also need to operate within the law. So, yes, we'll get all the praises and all that, but make sure that whatever you do, you don't go outside the law. That's when things might go south. All right, gentlemen, let me take you through the front page of local dailies. Let me start with the front page of the Daily Nation. What do you have here? Police theories on city quarry deaths. That is what we have here. Police theories on city quarry deaths. That is quarry, and the death toll has been rising day by day, and now the police boss has also transferred all police officers at the quarry police station north. Actually, he said that to not to interfere with the investigation. That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. And acting IG Douglas Kanja transfers all police officers at nearby police station as residents protest. That is also on the front page. Again, something that was not expected over the weekend. There was a death threat on the life of Donald Trump when a 20-year-old man fired several shots when Donald Trump was having his campaign in Pennsylvania, and that was scary. And of course, he had to be whisked away. The US president, that is Joe Biden, also gave a press statement shortly or moments later and said that he was trying to be in touch with Donald Trump, and right now he is in high spirit. That was unprecedented, gentlemen. I mean, 20-year-old is a Gen Z, so let's just speak. Not to glorify the Gen Z, but he is a young man. This was unprecedented. Perhaps, Mheshimiwa, these gentlemen wanted to rewrite the story of the United States of America.
I think sometimes too much democracy is
and you also, please speak it with the headline as well, kindly. Yeah.
I've been there at Quarry. We were there yesterday.
Yes.
And I think when you look at the bodies, how they have been dumped there, it is an eyesore. And you will not believe that those are bodies for somebody who was a human being, because they have been put in sacks. It means they have been cut into pieces. And it was the people themselves removing the bodies. When we were there, you find that now people are trying to remove the bodies. Kenya has, I think, the best intelligence system in Africa, and ranked world over that we have the best intelligence system. I don't think that an existing government can fail to know when such things occur within this country.
Yes.
Because if they have to be dumped, then we must have vehicles ferrying them. We must have people involved. So it makes people think really that we have some rogue officers within this country that have taken laws into their own hands. And they have infiltrated the government system such that any operations of their own making cannot be detected within the government system. So we must sit and think. Unfortunately, we are being told most of them were ladies. Yeah, most of them were ladies, some were kids. And when you look at it, why would as Kenyans have ladies die in such heinous manner? You cannot fathom, you cannot comprehend, you will not be able to understand why this happened, especially now that we are at crossroads in terms of political stability within this country. We would not expect that at this time any existing government would allow such things to happen. If they are not involved, then they must bring people to book. We have seen that we have had certain abductions in this country. We have seen certain deaths occur. It has not started now. I have been around for some times, and we have history of what has been happening before. We can never go back to those dark days as when we were growing, you could not even be in a vehicle when you are 5 men of you.
Yes.
Or 4 men, because people believe that you were planning to overthrow the government. And the Attorney General at that time, Charles George, said, imagining, thinking, prognosticating to overthrow to the government, you will be jailed forever.
That is treason. That was treason.
Yeah. So, and we removed that. The new constitution in this country removed that. We do not want to go back to those days when our safety was not guaranteed.
Yes.
The safety of Kenyans are not guaranteed. In America, one life like this, in any other country, life is very important. But when you have tens of people dying mysteriously without any accountability, then it means that we are going to go to the dark days of this country. It is a serious matter that as Kenyans, as parliamentarians, we must stand within the House and ask why this is happening.
Absolutely. Mheshimiwa, you are there as part of Azimio yesterday.
Yes.
Perhaps when I come back to you, you'll tell us what's the real situation on the ground for the viewers to also understand what really happened. If you really got any other information, even from the area residents, what was the situation like? But Eric, let's just face it. This thing is happening in the central business district. This is capital. And a police station is just meters away. Ironically, police station is just meters away. I would expect police officers to be patrolling that area quite often. 1. 2, it's a busy area. This is akin to Shakahola. Shakahola happened for far too long without the authorities noticing or even realizing what was happening until at some point when it blew out of proportion, and then now the government walked in and we are here today. This is happening right into the capital of Kenya, and now it took, the scavengers, people who are in the, the people looking for the scrap metals and all that, to realize that there's something wrong here. Mheshimiwa said that it's the system which is now lethargic in its duty. What do you think?
Victor, you ask a very pertinent question. For the last 2 years, I have been an ardent supporter of this government, of this regime. Till on my way to Damascus, I was hit with a very bright light.
Oh, you are Paul?
And now I've even changed my name now.
What did you say?
Because now the scales are no longer in my eyes. I can see clearly. There's a song that says I can see clearly now.
Okay.
Why do I give that background? Is because, sometimes when you look at how the state is behaving, you realize that the goodwill is lost. You say what you don't mean. And you say what you are very sure you will not do what it is that you have said. When you look at the issue of Kware, and when you look at how government has handled it, you get a bit concerned. The NIS that we are accusing of lethargy is the same NIS that some time back thwarted the assassination of the Queen of England, if you're not aware. They are so good at collecting and analyzing information. They were lauded by the British just some few years ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, the same NIS. Today, the same NIS has been accused by none other than the Deputy President of slacking in their duties. Now, is the government serious in solving some of these issues on behalf of Kenyans? I doubt. When Shakahola happened, one of the things you realize is that government created a task force, which included some preachers and some experts thereabout to get to the bottom of this. Has government gotten to the bottom of Shakahola? Absolutely not. Have we gotten a report on what exactly transpired? Has someone been fired for sleeping on the job? It has not happened. When Rivayala happened, and it was documented that the state was killing its own citizens. Of course, the president, when he got into power, promised that when you hear this word, no stone will be left unturned. It is akin to saying that they will not touch any stone. And so when Rivayala happened, I mean, even today, we do not know who are the actors. We do not know exactly what happened, and there is no one paying for the sins of omission or commission. Today, we are in Kware. What has the government done? It has transferred the police officers near that police station. It has promised a number of changes, including investigations. You know, there are things when you hear in this country, you know nothing will be done. Number one is investigation. Number two, no stone will be left unturned. Number three is task force. When you hear those three things from government, you know government is buying time. And because of the nature and the volatility of Kenyans and news making, what is news today will not be newsworthy in a week. So when you create a task force that goes for 6 months to investigate, in 6 months' time we will be discussing Baba at AUC or somewhere else, and no one will be bothered or remember what Kenyans went through. I think if the government is serious to get to the bottom of this, because they have advanced 3 theories, the police have advanced 3 theories. In those 3 theories, there is nowhere where the police have implicated themselves as a point of investigation in terms of it could be extrajudicial killing. They've pointed to, I think, cult.
Yes.
They have pointed to
serial killer and rogue medical practitioners.
Yes, nothing to do with it could be extrajudicial killings. So I think if the police are honest, because what we need is an honest conversation to say that there is a possibility that there could be extrajudicial killing.
Okay.
If we investigate and find it is not there, then well and good. But you cannot outrule it based on the fact that you are afraid of being criticized or something like that.
All right, Wakili, very quickly.
Yes. Now, I like what Mheshimiwa has said, that our intelligence is almost ranked the best in Africa. But the question is, what do we do with it?
I think it's is Eric who said that.
Yes. What do we do with it? And from where I sit as an advocate of the High Court, the rights are clearly spelled out in the Constitution, beginning with Article 1, going to Article 37, going to Article 26, the right to life. Who is responsible for ensuring that those rights are enjoyed, every citizen is enjoying that right? It is the state. When people die, first of all, we look who is supposed to be protecting these people, who is supposed to ensuring that the security of every person is guaranteed. We look at the state. We look at, first of all, the head of state, the president. We go down to the cabinet secretary who is in charge of security, internal security, and we go to the police themselves, because even during the protests, the police were given the responsibility of coming to the streets and protecting the protesters. But what did they do? Instead, they were shot. They were shooting people. And even with the issue of Kware, the last time I was in this studio, I was just pointing out that we had a Shakahola. Where were the police? No one has been taken to account. So we are telling the government, we are telling the state, whoever is in charge of security, that we shall not relent as Gen Zs. We shall be looking at them, every move they are making. And those who are not going to be accountable to their actions, we are going to take a step.
To make them accountable.
Yes.
Dr. You can also put your word on that as well.
Although I think something very bad has happened to our country. When you look at the Kware incident and so many other incidents that we have witnessed over the years in this country through abductions that used to end up in deaths, it is something that should not be had in a democratic nation like Kenya. And this is something also that we must condemn as a nation. And even while we are condemning, we also have to get to the root cause of all these problems. You look at it, Oloo, why has all these things happening when there are issues to do with demonstrations, when there are issues to do with people uprising against their government, questioning the issues that prevails? And when we talk about the theories upholded by even the police themselves, issues to do with cult, issues to do with there are opportunistic forces that are within our country, which of course we have also witnessed severally. And in this case, why all these theories are coming up or are compounding up within the issues to do with the investigation, it is because they are there, they are existing. But the question is, whom should we hold responsible for all these happenings? Is it our security? Is it our intelligence network? Is it the government? So in this case, I think before we accuse individuals or some systems, we must also know among ourselves that why would all these killings have happened during that kind of demonstration where the youth were actually expressing their anger against the government? What a coincidence that such number of people were killed within that period of time. And that gives us even more to suspect that maybe some underhand within the security may have also gotten involved in the whole saga. Because how can we run away from it? Look at what happened in our parliament. Yes, a very ugly incident. A good number of people died. Some say 13, some say, there have been a lot of theories on the same again as to how many people died. And why is it that we are not able to tell the exact figure of the people who died? Just on the spot, during the day when the massacre actually took place. So as long as we are not true to ourselves as a nation, as long as we are not able to tell the truth about ourselves, we may not be able to go anywhere, even when it comes to investigation. And if we are also suspecting that the securities may have been involved in the whole thing, because that is a suspect, but the same security agents, we are expecting them to investigate over the whole issue. Do you think we shall ever come to a situation whereby we can have a meaningful kind of investigation if those who are investigating are those ones whom we are also as public suspect that they may have actually gotten involved in the whole thing?
Yes.
I think we need prayers in this country.
We need prayers in this country. We've been praying every day. Bushima, I asked a question. You were there as a Simio yesterday, and the reception was wild. The number was so huge. Perhaps you can give us, maybe if you can, the real situation on the ground, what you saw there.
Yeah, it was very difficult to reach the place. There were the GSU, quite a number were brought on the scene when they heard Baba was coming. So, and the residents wanted to burn the police station. That is an indication that the residents have no confidence within our system or the police system. It took the government to restrain the locals not to ban the police station. But we should not be reactionary. We must always, and we should not be subjective every time. We must always be objective. Some of those policemen, I also sympathize with them because they find themselves in a situation that they are not the ones involved. So transferring police from a station, all of them, I don't think it's going to sort out the problem. And people thought that on the ground they were saying these bodies must have been brought by the system, the police. That is why even the IG, the acting IG is transferring those, the police. So on the ground, the people were saying that this must have been done by the police themselves, and that is why they wanted to ban that place. So Baba was calming the crowd, not really calming, but he went to witness for himself the atrocities and the killings that have been done. When we say that most of them were ladies, in theory, political theory, when you are planning, you must also come out with the end results.
Yes.
Because if you kill and dump ladies and men, you can never bring the theory of cult.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring the theory of cult, then you separate them and say that these are just women only. However, they killed. So in our minds, any political mischief that you intend to commit, you must sit, plan, and look at the end results.
Yeah.
So even if there were most of them were late, we cannot, okay, I'm not dismissing the idea of the cult, but even if it is a cult, who can kill more than 10 people and is not known and seen within our intelligence system. You can't in this country. We have been around for a long time. Even here, maybe we have 2 intelligence officers, where maybe you are one. In Kenya, we say where there are 10, we have intelligence officers. Even here we have. So in this country,
I will neither deny or
not accept.
No confirm.
All these guys
Okay.
Of maize, the guys who sell maize around in the middle of, those are all security people in this country.
Yeah.
We can never have such huge killings and nobody knows.
Absolutely.
So we must, as me and as ODM, we say that this must stop.
This must stop. Let's take a break. When we come back, I'll still circle back to that issue. There is a question I really wanted to talk about, the issue of the Azimio stand on this one. Raila talked about no dialogue.
Yes.
He said it there. I'm also told that there is a Azimio meeting today to deliberate on the way forward. I'll take a look at that when we come back. Stay with us. All right, so let's take a break. There are 4 brilliant minds with me in studio. We're taking a break. And we come back, we are getting into the real gist of the debate right now. A lot happened over the past week. Stay with us. And welcome back. Welcome back. All right. So, very quickly, I'm just taking through the front page of the remaining 3 papers. I'm not going to delve into it. My paper. No, Doctor, don't mind. Oh, thank you. On the front page of the Standard, in the eye of the storm, that is what we have here. In the eye of the storm, that is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. It's the president out there. It's going to be the toughest week in terms of what really happens to the president. And so let's say that the presidential headache, that is what is here. This could be the toughest week for the President William Ruto, as he faces an acid test. The mystery of women bodies dumped in Kwara, something that we talked about here. The discussion on a broad-based cabinet takes center stage. The youth have called for another round of protest in spite of the talks to address their issues kicking off today. Many players, however, have given the multi-sectoral conversation a wide berth. That is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. Again, on the front page, Kalonzo, tough stand against dialogue, split opinion. I asked that question. Mheshimiwa, you're going to tell us more on that. Very quickly, what do we have on the front page of the People Daily? Raila, no dialogue. Again, he said that more than 3, 4, 5 times in, that is yesterday in Kwara. Yeah, you have. Just a week after he said that he supported the dialogue about how Kome's goose was cooked. He also exited office last Friday. This is what we have here. Again on the front page, Kwara killings linked to cult. Of course, now the People Daily is talking about cult, and on other papers there are 3 theories involved. And finally, on the front page of what do you have here? All right, on the front page of the Star newspaper, this is what we have. Odinga, Uhuru hit in 156 billion shillings, Ruto new budget cuts. That is what's on the front page. And you can also take a look at the graphic illustration of what really the cuts and some of the reductions that we are experiencing, the different institutions and persons will be experiencing moving forward. Again on the front page, Kwara bodies probe eyes cult, serial killer or medic theories. That is what the police is also trying to narrow it down to what is here. And there is a story I read here that there is a concern that why conferment of degrees is on ice at Maseno University. It's apparently because that university has not had a vice-chancellor for 5 years now. They've not had vice-chancellor for 5 years. After ex-Safaricom CEO Michael Joseph was appointed 5 years from January 2014, and his contract ended in January 2019. Until now, they've not had a substantive vice-chancellor. So what happens?
Is it vice-chancellor or chancellor?
Chancellor, sorry, chancellor.
Yes.
They've not had a chancellor for 5 years. So what will happen? That's a situation. How is it even run? How can a school run without a principal? You have been in that shoe for some time, Mheshimiwa. I'm imagining.
But the universities, the normal running of the university is the vice-chancellor that runs the university. In fact, I'm also in the education committee, and there are many proposals about appointment of the chancellors. There are certain criteria that they have to be moderated. Because as a chancellor, you should be allowed to pick somebody with integrity, somebody who can add value to the university, somebody who is recognized, because university, this is where we have is an equalizer, where the good minds of this country operate.
But who confers the right to read and write?
The chancellor.
It's the chancellor. So if the chancellor is absent, does it mean that you have no right to exercise the paper?
No, you have, because we have had people graduating within that period of time from a
So are those degrees legitimate?
Of course they are legitimate. It's just confirmed.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is about the individuals.
Yeah.
It is about the systems that have been put in place.
Yeah.
That is an institution.
It must run. It's not that those degrees are not legitimate.
So the pronouncement is null and void. You know, I confer upon you
because
the right. Does it mean then that it's just a conveyor belt? It doesn't add any value.
There is no one who is giving them that power to read. And write.
When we talk about an institution, we are referring to the university as an institution, and it has its hierarchy. So if there is no the chancellor, there must be vice chancellor, and that one is. We talk about the president and the vice president or the deputy president. That we talk about presidency. So if it is within that level of understanding, that means that even the university was complete with the vice chancellor.
You know, in this country, there was a time that the president was the chancellor of almost all the universities. So, but with the development of the new constitution and also Kenya being a pragmatic country, I think it has been devolved, and now we have all the universities almost have different chancellors.
Yeah.
So the only thing we need to do is really that we should never have these vacant positions because they just require appointments.
Is it something you're considering as education committee?
We have even proposals and acts that we want to change it on how the appointment of chancellors of the universities should be done. And within certain limits, I think it's 3 months, so that if it is done, we will not have that gap of 5 years.
Okay. So but at this point, we can say that university alumni or students who graduated are safe.
Yeah, they are safe. They are safe.
Okay.
Yeah, they are
Fair
safe.
enough. All right. So, gentlemen.
So we were talking about, or you want to bring something else?
You are going to pick it there. In fact, let me just pick it from really what happened over the past week. It had been an interesting week, so to speak. So many things really happened that nobody expected. One of them is the exit of the cabinet. Something that we've talked about here. We see a number of MPs, including Azimio members of parliament, when they were doing vetting of these cabinet secretaries in parliament, some of you rejected the nomination of these cabinet secretaries. Was it something that you had, you had an idea of, that the cabinet that the president was putting in place was not going to last a term? Or was it a politics that was playing place at that particular point, Mheshimiwa? Let me start with you. As an active member of parliament.
You know, history, although I never did history, but now I'm applying it, that it can define the future, because you have to refer to the past. Look at the government of Kibaki. Kibaki brought technocrats. Kibaki got those who could do the work. And he brought back the economy, found it at the doldrum, brought it back, and we could feel after 2 years that the economy was peaking. When Uhuru came in also, he tried to bring in people. We can count on those people who were there.
Yes.
And were very, very versed with the operations of the government. When you go to the Ministry of Education, we had an educationist. When you go to finance, we have a financial person. You cannot put an educationist to head roads or to head agriculture. When you, within the premise of your thinking, you bring somebody like a lawyer to be the CS of roads, what are you telling Kenyans? That we don't have engineers in this country? When you bring somebody who is not an educationist to head the vast Ministry of Education, then what are you telling Kenyans? So, first of all, the appointments of these CSs, they were not correct. When they came to the floor of the House, we opposed vehemently. In fact, we had just about 4 people we thought maybe could have been appointed on those ministries. All the others were not appointed. They were appointed because of political reasons. Some have never worked within the government system throughout their lifetime. Some had cooked peppers, did not have the required credential to head those ministries. We must come as a country where we give people who deserve their jobs. We must look at those who can help this country. Even now that the CSS have been dismissed, we are yet to see the kind of people Ruto is going to appoint on those positions. Outside there, the Gen Zs are saying, not the Gen Zs, but the general public, why would we want to recycle people who have been in government for 30 years? They have done their duty, they have gone, and you want to bring them back. When Kenyans, we are not giving birth to intelligent people. We are not giving birth to people who can do those jobs. People are waiting. That is the word which is outside there. We must bring technocrats. We must bring people who can run these ministries in a manner that is consistent with the demands of these people at the moment. So we are saying that from the very beginning, we were seriously against the appointment of some of the CSS. But because of the numbers, you know, we say that the minority, you can have your say,
yes,
but the majority will have their way. Because of the numbers that the government has acquired within the parliament system. You know, some of our members in the opposition went to bed with the government. They were, I would not say they were bought, but they were married. It's only that we didn't have
it was metamorphosis from
dowry was paid.
Maybe we didn't have the dowry, but
no, it was paid.
They were married in quotes.
Okay.
So that they went to bed with the government, and they could not come out of that bed.
Okay, what are you saying?
I think what we have to look at it, Mheshimiwa, allow me to borrow the word from the Deputy President. Of being shareholders in the first, I can call the first government, because we are yet to form the second government, if it is anything to do with the CSS. In this case, it was not based on merits. The whole appointments was not based on merits. It was based on sharing, as per how they got the votes from these respective areas. And that is what actually destroyed the quality and the delivery of services. Because in the first place, you could not deliver if you don't understand your docket. And that is why Mheshimiwa is talking about people, resources being misplaced. Putting somebody a place where he cannot, he has no qualification or prior qualification as to play and actively deliver in that particular docket. But let me say this way. There is this saying that the ODM has actually been talking so loud every now and then that there are some people who went to bed with the UDA. In this case, when we are talking about the government, once election has been done, the whole country is brought together as one, and the appointments can be done across the board. I mean, there is no conditions whereby that only His Excellency the President Ruto should only bring on board those who are in UDA, leaving away those who are in other parties, because there are qualified people who are in other parties who should be given an opportunity to deliver to this nation.
What are you trying to insinuate?
What I'm trying to say, I'm trying to say, when you talk about people, going to bed with the government, what does that mean? It means that you want to create your own cocoon, your own people. And that is why, Oloo, you can remember what happened the other day, whereby the members of parliament from the ODM, the five of them who voted for the financial bill.
Yes.
Now, these gentlemen were proposing that this guy should be kicked out. What does that mean? Democracy has been curtailed. So, if we have elected the members of parliament, they are working for the benefit of the nation at large. Whether you are in opposition, whether you are in the government, you have a special role to play a role that will...
you are suggesting that the opposition should also be brought on board?
No, what I'm saying, when it comes to appointments, positions, we don't regard the issue of whether you are coming from where, and then you are entitled. You have an entitlement to be
as long as you have
appointed. What I'm saying, the cabinet, if we have to succeed in this country, must be based on meritocracy. Number two, it must have a national image. I mean, it should cut across whether you voted for that government or not. And then, thirdly, This should be people who have integrity. They should be known their background, where they have worked before.
I think what I was saying,
Yeah.
maybe he didn't get me rightly. I was not talking about the appointments of the CS. That one is within the jurisdiction of the president. He can appoint from anywhere, all the Kenyans. But I was just saying, we were talking about the debate of the MPs within the House about the parties, the Azimio and the UDA. You know, when you form a party, parties are formed to acquire power. And there are structures of the party. And we must respect the rules and the structure of the party. When you are voted within a particular party, it is because of the ideals of that party. If it is about social democracy, then you must cherish and also must show that you operate within the deals of that political party.
Yes.
But Oloo, must you oppose Mheshimiwa to remain relevant with your party?
No, but you see, you see, in my opinion, when you're seeking for election and you're using a political party as a vehicle, you ascribe to the ideals of that political party. If you are of a divergent opinion, the Constitution offers you a right to run as an independent candidate. You know, you can run as independent. No one is asking you. But coming to the issue of the CSAs, and now that we are about to have a new government, do you know something? Do you know Krokuta?
Yes.
I think this is...
Hyena.
No, you do not have to say it because you know, there are some of my villagers who think I did not go to school. I think we had the highest conglomeration of Krokuta in this particular regime in terms of their ability to engage in activities that led to eating of the common man finances. It is in this regime where we had cooking oil scandal, you know, things that we use on a day-to-day basis. It is in this regime that we released that we had fertilizer, fake fertilizer. And therefore, I think, in my opinion, the Gen Z revolution is the best thing that has ever happened to William Ruto, in my opinion. Why? Because imagine, you know, sometimes history is important. When William was looking for the seat, you must recall that he had very few allies. The president, yes. Right. He had very few allies. And the people who stood with him then are mostly the people who he had in the cabinet. If you recall, if you go to a place like Meru, the people that supported him a lot that time was among them Muturi. If you come to a place like Kiambu, Moses Kuria was at the forefront. And therefore, when they were seeking power, he had very few allies because Baba and the other team and the government then were, to borrow Mheshimiwa's word, in bed together. And therefore, when they
are married.
Yes, and they were married then, before now these divorces that are coming. But you see, the thing is, when they got power, then they had to share, based on the fact that we looked for this thing together. I mean, even when hyenas or lions hunt together, they'll have to share the meal. After all, they participated in the hunting. But in my opinion, what Gen Z has done has given the president a clean slate to reorganize his house. And now, you know, you can blame anyone. When you let go of a cabinet secretary, you can say, you know, the way people break up, it's not me, it is you. You know, I want to take a certain trajectory in my life. You can always have a scapegoat as to why you're doing things. And therefore, I think the president must take this golden opportunity to reset Kenya to the right trajectory without anyone holding him to account on the fact that they campaigned together. Okay.
So was it deliberate? Again, Wakili?
I want
because this cabinet is just 2 years in office, 22 months. I
want to move away from the Krokuta of my friend here and re-echo the words of us, the young generation, as to what we are saying going forward with this country. We have seen what the president has done. We have seen the kind of cabinet that has been in power for the past 2 years. We have seen the lack of an accountability, lack of transparency. We have seen this government fall down. We are saying it is high time that we close this country for renovations. We must fix our security. We must fix our financial spending. We must fix our internal affairs. We must fix even our age, those who are going to be appointed for the cabinet slots. They must be people of integrity. They must be people who are willing to work not for the good of the president, but for the good of the oath, to serve the people of Kenya. And I'm reminding these panelists that the youths in Kenya, even this room, the youths are many compared to the old people who are here. We are saying that it is high time that if the president is not willing to meet the demands of the young people, he is going home. And that is how we are going to fix this country.
And by the way, the president does not need to worry. You know why? UK has set precedents. We have the highest number of Gen Zs as members of parliament now
16
in the
million.
UK. So the president must not worry that he has no precedents.
Yes.
He can actually appoint Gen Zs to become CSS.
In fact,
it has happened elsewhere in the West.
We will help him run the government
So-
if he doesn't have an idea
So
of
that,
doing
that brings to the next question of how he's going to pick his cabinet, the next cabinet. What are some of the demographic,
the normal way.
Gen
The
Z is
normal
among
way.
them, even before we answer.
Okay.
Gen Z is a
Why are you
demographic.
looking at my notes?
The normal
Before
way.
we proceed, Gen Z must form a bulk of the CSS in the new.
Let me
What
tell
if
you.
that
Let me
does not
tell you.
happen?
Let me
Because-
tell you,
but
Victor.
is this the real gist of what the Gen Zs are talking about?
But
Yes.
I think
Let me tell you, Victor.
Just a minute. Go ahead, Mheshimiwa.
sometimes we take these things out of context. But also I must say, we appreciate the Gen Zs very much. But we also appreciate those who have brought that fight to that level. Even as we were on the trenches when we lost this election, we led demonstrations, our people were killed. I remember the last time when they were shooting at us, my vehicle was the third. We just missed death when we were seeing death. I think we had started praying that we go. So we want these Gen Zs to be consistent with their demands. But also, we have seen some young CSs who were appointed, and they have let us down. I think you know the people I'm talking about. Some young CSs in the current government.
But they are not young. They look young. No, they look young. They look young.
They could.
Are you telling me? Are
they
you
look
telling me
young.
that Ababu na Mwamba is a Gen Z?
Now you have said what I didn't say that, but you have said because
But that one looks young. He's not young.
some of them have let us down because of their actions. If you see what they are doing, so even the agencies that we are going to have must be focused, must be patriotic, so we must commit ourselves as Kenyans that really it is the character that we must portray even as Gen Zs that I know they are going to come in the government. I have no doubt in my mind, unless somebody is mad, we have to appoint them.
We have a government spokesman.
Yeah, so if
I should appoint you as government spokesman.
this country, when we say that it is going to be broad-based, that is what I was talking about. When we are saying it is going to be broad-based, people we must not take it out of context. We must not say that now we are going to join the parties. Broad-based means that we are going to take all the Kenyans in that government.
Including opposition.
That one I don't know, including opposition because they are Kenyans. So, but we are not talking about opposition MPs. We are talking of people who are in Kenya. And when he talked about broad-based, people thought now is going to bring in the
government of national unity.
The government of national unity.
Yes.
But I think in his mind, he wants to make Kenyans appreciate that all of us belong to this country.
Okay.
Because the appointments have been skewed.
Is Mheshimiwa John the Baptist, could he be preparing the way for something to come?
No.
That is the next question I want to ask.
Because the way he's circumventing the word broad-based is suspect.
No, we are just, that is what we are saying here, that we must look at each corner of this country.
Yes, the national
The so that
There
we
is-
bring this country together. If you look at the appointments, I have a list of appointments in this country. And because of this shareholding, the appointments have come from two communities. Me, I'm not a tribalist. My constituency is here, just 100 meters away. But we must do appointments in this country,
Okay.
not based on shareholding.
I want to understand this. Is Azimio, are you angling for a position in the next formation of the government?
Which me, I can't angle. Me, I represent the bedroom.
Of course,
woman.
you're a man.
But what we are saying,
in fact,
No,
in
no.
fact, as Gen Zs, we are saying that we don't want this opposition to infiltrate in our cause.
Okay.
We want to fix this country. We want to focus. We don't want people to come and take advantage of the situation the way they have done before.
I think
And
also,
again, and again, we are saying that this is not going to be a government of young people. It is going to be a government of CSS who are people of integrity, people who are qualified, people who are willing to serve the people. So whether you are old, whether you are young, whether you are whichever age you are, it does not matter.
Maximum is 21, minimum 14. What do you want?
We want people of integrity.
Not necessarily. I think he's speaking his mind well.
Yes.
That it is not about the age, but the Gen Zs want to fix this country and bring people of integrity. I think that is their main agenda.
Yes.
That we must run this country with a lot of integrity. I was just saying that I have a big list of the appointments of this country who are in those positions. When you look at it, you just get mad. So we must fix this country, and we must be willing to fix it. Let us not talk about it, and then we don't fix it.
Okay. Eric, you're going to take us on a break very quickly.
You know,
Dr. is also banning
I
here.
have
I can see here.
I have different thoughts. If I was the president, I'm just wondering out aloud, what would go into consideration in choosing my cabinet secretaries? And you know, apart from what is happening in the country, one of the other considerations must be 2027.
That is a big question, because how is it going to affect
Because you
the
see,
political landscape?
you don't want to be like Kibaki. You concentrate on technocrats, and then what happens in 2007? So we do not, you see, I agree we need to encompass all things and bring all people together. And I'm not saying, I told you I was a very ardent supporter of this regime, okay? So in terms of 2027, if I was the president, I am also looking at a cabinet that can assist me moving beyond 2027. But fortunately, I am not.
Fortunately, you are not.
Yes.
Doctor, do you think, in 1 minute, do you think the president should, with that foresight of 2027, the people who he's going to include in his next cabinet, broad-based, I really want to understand this meaning of broad-based.
I think what His Excellency the President actually meant by broad-based is that, you know, the kind of cabinet that we had, it was so skewed that it came from particular areas of this country. And in my own understanding is that the appointment of the next team of cabinet shall actually come from within Kenya. I mean, it will reflect the Kenyan face. You will get every community, even though it may not be that kind of enough, but it should be spread in such a way that you can see the Kenyan face among the cabinets. And in this case, I think that should also act as a healing process, because there has been a lot of accusation against the president that in your government, we can only see two communities. You mean the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins. And in this case, I believe he'll get out of that way and make sure that this government, apart from looking at the integrity of those people who should be brought in, looking at also their competence, their meritocracy in the whole picture. I think the president is going to come up with a broad-faced kind of image that Kenyans will be happy of. But again, the demands of our young generation, the Gen Zs, I'm also advising that the best thing that they can do is to remain focused on what they demand. Because yesterday, Oloo, I was listening to some Twitter from the host, Jimmy Wanjiki, and then also Miguna. And listening to them, I listened to people who are radicalizing this country.
Can you just hold that thought? Allow me to.
Let me.
Just take a break. I know.
Before you take a break.
No, let's take a break. Director Meseme, let's take a break. And we come back. I'll come back and circle back, because the experts was a discussion that really happened.
Are not people who have not gone to school. They are graduates. That's what you need to know. Myself, I'm an advocate of the High Court.
Okay.
Those who have died are graduates. People who have finished university studies and now they are jobless. And that is what we are telling the government. Now you can take the break.
Very good. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I have got Mheshimiwa Orero in studio. Eric Muturi wa Dude, also representing the great people of Kiambu, Sindio. And Wakili, he says that they are not going to Atuta Kubali. I don't know what they are not going to Kubali. And Dr. Joseph Rotich. Gentlemen, Dr. I'll give you a minute, kindly, so that you finish your point.
What I was expressing, Oloo, you know, the youth of this country, the Gen Z, made this country to listen. It was not listening. And I want to say we have a lot of hope through them. But my greatest fear, Bwana Oloo, is the kind of infiltration that I'm foreseeing going into the future. Because when you look at people radicalizing the youth against their own government. Yesterday I was listening to two Twitter at the same time. The one that was hosted by Chime Wanjiki and Miguna. And these guys are spitting out fire. They are talking about revolution. And when you talk about revolution, what do you exactly mean? So in this case, what I'm advising our youth in this country, you have taken a position. You are the beacons of hope to the rest of the world. I have seen Africa picking up from you. I have seen outside the country picking up from you. But the vision may be lost in the Middle East or in the confusion that we are seeing. And if you want to continue, I would wish that you come up with leadership. So that even when these people say we need a government of national unity, you need to have one person who will be expressing on your behalf that we have said that person is going to deliberate on this and that and that. And then again, make also viable demands. Because when you say, yes, corruption must be removed in our public offices, that is very good. But corruption is systemic in nature. How can you remove it in a day? Number two, when you talk of the president must go, how is it possible? You cannot talk about following constitution and the rule of law at this side, and then you are abusing the same at this side. So we must be consistent. Can we remain focused? Can you look at ahead and say, this is what we want as GNC, and this is how we want it to be met, and this is the structure of our demand. And then that one you wait for the results, or you push for those results. Otherwise, don't miss your focus. Don't miss what we have actually, in fact, we have invested in you. Some of us have really invested in you. The government was not listening.
So you're supporting the Gen Zs?
I'm supporting the cause of the Gen Zs. I'm supporting their cause.
You know, Victor.
But the infiltration that I'm seeing coming up.
Victor, I
you are
agree.
good. You have a supporter here now.
Yeah, but Victor, I also agree with Daktari, just a minute, for the simple reason that the movement is good. This movement by Gen Zs and millennials, it's actually the best thing that ever happened to this country. We must be very careful, because the people who are infiltrating our ranks are people with a checkered history. If you look at the X-Space that was held yesterday night, and you look at the people at the forefront, someone is radicalizing you in a bed sitter somewhere outside the country. When he tells me to ban my own country, he has a dual citizenship. He can run away. But for Mungai here, there is nowhere I will go. When you look at the second person in that X-Space, who, by the way, called for boycott of certain financial products from certain institutions, if you look at that person and their source of wealth and their source of history, it has a lot of black spots in terms of how they made their money. In fact, the dailies are on record reporting how corrupt some of those people are. So I must agree with Daktari that we must keep the movement sanitized.
Amen.
And devoid of people with a checkered history to come and destroy something that is very good.
Okay.
Please,
I want to agree with the two gentlemen, but I also want to remind them that no one told us to wake up from our homes and come to the streets. I personally did it on my own volition. Meaning, I have no one to maybe corrupt my mind. When Jimmy Wanjigi and Miguna from wherever they are holding spaces, they are holding spaces after what has been done. We have gone to the streets and they have seen what we are doing, and then they have come now too. And those are the kind of elements that we are saying that we will not allow them to come and corrupt a good cause. If anyone has a record which is not pleasant in terms of issues to do with integrity, we will shelve them away.
So all of you agree that Chapter 6 should be at the
Abolished.
forefront?
Yes.
All right, very well.
Yes.
So my next question to all of you gentlemen, is that now the president is about to form his next cabinet. Allow me to ask this question. One, we've seen a history of the handshake and the government of national unity with the President Mwai Kibaki, and then now the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And after that, we had a lot of the campaigning of the handshake brothers. My question to you, starting with you, Mheshimiwa, Baba called for dialogue. Today, the dialogue was supposed to start. One, we've not had any venue. Number two, any agenda or any other person who is going to be joining that meeting. Raila said yesterday on the front page of this People Daily, Raila, no dialogue. Just a week ago, he said, I support that dialogue. A week later, no dialogue. What really happened?
I think as also Kenyans, we need to understand Baba, you know, throughout his life, he has been on trenches fighting for democracy. And I think he's one of the people in this country that has always been supportive of creating democratic space within our society. When Raila was talking about dialogue, I think there was history about this. It was about the NADCO report. And that is why you saw all the Azimio leadership present. So it was about a National Dialogue Committee. And there were, I think, 10 items that are in that report. I think nine items that are in that report. And they only dealt with one, about the IBC. And you see, that NADCO report also, the NADCO committee, brought this country together. You remember, before the NADCO, we were on streets demanding some of the things, lowering of the prices of commodities, IBC, all that we were demanding as MEO that time. And it was also put that this report would be handed over to Ruto and Baba. So that was a moment of handing over the NADCO report, which is a National Dialogue Committee report.
Yes.
So I think when he was talking about dialogue, it was not against the Gen Z demands. I think that was a spur of the moment because it was a National Dialogue Committee. But really, he is not changing his mind. He is saying that the kind of dialogue people thought that we are going to have one-on-one with the Kenya Kwanza. No, it is not.
I'm getting confused, Mheshimiwa. It's about the National Dialogue Committee that Baba talked about.
That report that time.
So yesterday he talked about no dialogue. So he doesn't want the dialogue about the National Dialogue Committee.
Now when he came out, the country and the people said he was talking about the dialogue of Azimio and the KK.
So what is he against? Which
so
dialogue?
he's against that dialogue between the Azimio and the KK.
Okay.
That is what people have been talking about.
I think my
Okay.
understanding-
So just a minute. So does it mean that Azimio is not angling for any position in the next formation of the government? If that is
Not
part
at
of
the
dialogue.
moment, because even today, tomorrow we have a parliamentary group committee. He cannot.
That is ODM.
That is ODM, and we'll also have Azimio together. We must come as members of Azimio and chart our way forward. We cannot just haphazardly say that this is what we want, yet we have not sat as a Azimio committee. So we are going to do that tomorrow, and all the most political parties are going to sit and have their way forward. And after tomorrow now, you can call me back here, and I can give you our stance as Azimio.
It shall have been pronounced. So even if I call you, it won't make any difference.
I can explain later.
Eric.
But what we are saying is that Baba is with the Gen Zs. And that is why, because Gen Zs are saying they don't want anything called dialogue with the current government system.
Could it be the reason why we don't have that dialogue happening
We
today?
told Baba to relax at home. This is our course.
So I think because of that, that is why he was talking like that.
You know, Victor, dialogue is euphemism for we will not do anything in this country. When you hear the word dialogue, it means we are buying time to talk and take tea and finally do nothing about it. Remember, last time when we were here, we were discussing a dialogue on the national wage bill. You recall?
Yes.
What happened a few weeks down the line? SRC issued a circular to increase the salaries of members of parliament.
But we refused.
No. We refuse, so notwithstanding. SRC, in its own motion, went ahead to increase salaries of civil servants. And that was against the backdrop of a national dialogue, a national conversation on cutting wage bill. So what I am saying is that it is not time to talk now. We have talked. I mean, if you look at the talking that has happened in this country, from TJRC report, from Waki report, from Dongo report, IPPG, if you look at all the talking that this country has held over the last couple of years, it is time for talking to take a pause
and
momentarily.
action to follow.
Now it is time for us to action what it is that we have been talking about. And you see, you don't need dialogue to do some things, okay? You don't need dialogue to implement Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
Do you really need dialogue?
I mean, you don't need dialogue. You don't need dialogue to do that. There are some things in this country that just the president needs to. There's a book written by Tony Blair. I think it's called A Journey or something. One of the things he says, for you to be an effective prime minister or president, is how you utilize your time. Now, if you utilize your time, and that's what he writes in the book, in the king's palace or in the king's courtyard, entertaining people who do not add value to your presidency, it is going to be seen in the results of your presidency. And clearly, the results that we see from Kenya Kwanza government are not resonating with the Kenyan population.
So what should the president do at this particular point?
He should stop talking. Actually, you know, one of the biggest challenges we have with the president, he talks of aspirations as if they are actual happenings. So when the president goes to somewhere in a campaign mode and talks, he will say to Metenga, okay? But you know, government processes take time. So something that you have tendered today might take 9 months to come to fruition.
Or 2 years.
Or 2 years.
Yeah.
But what you see, the Kenyan population see you as a person who is not truthful, because when you say to Metenga, the population expects it to happen now. So I think one of the things the president needs to do is to slow down on talk and put more in action, but most importantly, he needs to communicate the actions, because what is happening, there are good things that this government has done that no one knows about.
You know, one thing about this is when there was an express engagement with the president, he had 2, 3, 4 hours and engaged the public. And the way he was calm, the way he was receiving all that information, and at the end of the day, he apologized. He even prayed at the end of it all. Yesterday in Nyandarua, when he, you know, during a church service, he said that the next formation of the government is going to bring the face of Kenya all together.
Well, I was surprised. He did not have security details. I only saw one vehicle. So he has started cutting the cost. Or it was fear.
No, I don't think so.
I think,
maybe they camouflaged, right?
But the president is more safe than ever. Yes. He doesn't need security. So I think, Oloo, there is something that I'm really perturbed with the feeling of Kenyans. You know, the other day we were talking about the financial bill that was rejected. And the financial bill, which was loaded up with a lot of goodies. Yes, it has made life and lives of Kenyans unbearable. But instead of us suggesting that, what can we do? What can we cut out of this? What can we remove out of this budget? We said we just don't want it completely. Yet, we come back again and say, we want to see the president delivering. We want to see the president delivering on the pledges and the promises that he made to this country.
Very well.
And that he made a lot of promises, that he has not delivered even one. So we are not being reasonable or realistic or low when we say the government has literally not done anything. Yet we can see the cost of living, especially on foodstuffs, it has reduced because of the policies that the government came up with. When we can see also the president spearheading the creation of employment opportunities in form of ICT centers, in form of all these things that they are talking about. And then we want instant answers. This government, Oloo, has actually been in place for hardly 2 years. Yet we want to see miracles. And what I'm also perturbed with Kenyans, Oloo, is that this government that is being loaded with a lot of accusation is a government that is trying to salvage that which was committed, the wrong things which were committed by the last 10 years. Now trying to stop. No, listen, Mheshimiwa, you must listen to me. So something that was, something that was committed for the last 10 years.
Yes.
And then they want the president to do that instantly within a period of 2 years. I mean, you need a miracle law for any right-sensed person to commit what is happening.
My question will be,
let me tell you, law. How long it will take must commensurate with the support that Kenyans are giving the government.
My question is, where was the president during those 10 years that my friend is talking about? He was in government.
Gen Z, I agree with you.
He was in government.
I totally agree with you. He was in the government, but he was not the head of state.
And he came to news rooms and he said that he is going to be elected alongside the president himself.
No, what I'm just saying, Oloo.
So he was there present.
Kenyans,
so it is not that somebody else. It's not that somebody else came from somewhere and put that thing together.
Daktari has said what I have alluded to. You see, Daktari, this is the challenge.
Do you have tea in your cup?
Yes. You see,
we are not running short of sugar.
We now need more water. We now need more water here. No, but you see, Daktari, that is exactly my point. The thing is, all those nice things you're talking about this government, the same government has not cared to tell the people what it is doing. So that what the people only hear, what the people only listen to, are the bad things the government has done against its people. Now, it is not our responsibility as citizens to go out and find out what government is trying to do for us. I agree, it is part of our responsibility. But let me tell you, no. The government has machinery paid for by the taxpayer to communicate to Kenyans on what it is doing about their lives.
Yeah.
Now, if government fails to tell ordinary Kenyans through the available channels on what it is doing, how then can you come back and blame the same Kenyans who are receiving news from other sources telling them their government is not working?
I totally don't blame Kenyans alone. Just 1 minute. I don't really blame the Kenyan public. But what is being fed by our media houses? So our media houses who are on float against the president.
Who exactly are you blaming?
No, I don't want to blame. No, I'm blaming the media.
You know, we are in we are in a media house.
No, I have no problem in accusing.
I will switch off your microphone.
We are in a media house.
No. But if the media, wait, Daktari, if the media houses are purveying information that is contrary to the government agenda, then it simply says the government is asleep.
Okay.
Because why would they sit down and watch purveyance of negative news against them if they know they have the positive news?
What my friend is saying is that the media houses are calligraphing these things that the president is saying and then showing it to Kenyans. Because 2 weeks ago, the president came to called for a press conference to address the nation, and he said no public officer will do what? Participate in fundraisings. But what did he do yesterday? He was the one. So is that also
is he not a public officer?
Is he not a public officer?
No, what I'm just saying...
Can you blame the media for such an action?
My young man, Gen Z, what I want to say...
when you hear young man, you know it has gone south.
No, what I'm saying, Oloo, the people who are supposed to be informing the country about the happenings, what the government is actually doing.
Asleep.
They are asleep.
So they are asleep. So you can't.
We need to pinch them.
Actually, we don't need to pinch them. They need to be fired. As the others are going, they also need to go.
And then again, Gen Z, what I want you to let us also look at the constitution that we are supposed.
Let me steer this, Daktari.
Yeah.
We all know after the storm, when it's about to rain, it's always so dark and thick and all that. The president said yesterday, you know what? It's akin to labor. During that process, it's never a comfortable place, and but after that, everybody will rejoice. So let's flip it. And let's think of, after the storm, we start salvaging what happened, damages caused here and there. Mheshimiwa, let me start with you. From the legislative point of view, you have your reservations as Parliament. You have got so many bills still pending in Parliament that need to be fast-tracked and all that. Let's give hope to the President, much as he's going to form his next cabinet, because the President will be as good as the people that he's going to pick next. What should happen?
I think, in fact, we have been called to the committees to go and look at the appropriation bill and also the new budget lines that we have. The president himself now, he must bridge the gap where about 365 billion or something.
Yeah.
He must bridge that gap and see how he's going to fix the economy, minus that money. As we go back, he has to appoint people of integrity. That is the first thing, that we need integrity. But I have a number of things that the president must fix. One, they must employ the JSS teachers. They must look for funds for internship. He must remove in his government those who are believed to have entrenched, supported, abetted corruption within the system. He has to sort out the security system. But what is so important now is that our universities, our kids who have qualified for universities, we have new model for scholarship and help. This new model must be fixed because our kids cannot join universities now because of the high fees that is being charged at the university. All parents, everywhere you walk, everybody is saying now, the kids are unable to join universities. Then how are we going to fix these countries if our own kids cannot go to the university? If you want to do medicine, it's 600,000 and something. If you want to do engineering, 520. Although we have those parameters used to choose the kind of monies that they are given, those parameters are abused because they don't have system to know who is more vulnerable, who is needy, who is less needy. They must fix that system. That is one of the things that also this country must fix. The higher education system must be fixed in this country. Then we must reduce the cost and the taxes. The taxes within the pay slips of those who are working.
Including yours.
Including mine, are unbearable. So we must revisit the taxes on people's payslip. About housing, about social health, and about other things. We have to revisit, because if we don't revisit, it will never be the same again.
It will be the same again.
And I also want to say that the focus of the Gen Zs, we must not infiltrate the agenda of Gen Zs. Let them run with it, we support it, and as Kenyans, we see where it is going to take us.
Yeah, when they falter, the people who are in authority
I think we are changing the whole of Africa. I
Okay.
think this week Nigeria is also on the streets because they are demanding.
You had several scares.
Even America is changing.
Even Ghana
Yes.
will be on the streets.
I'm running out of time.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes,
but
Eric.
I hope you will tell us also to say hi to our constituents.
Yes, I have 1 minute. Actually, I have 1 minute to all of you.
We will share, we will
Eric, you
share.
can split.
I think the president yesterday talked something about labor, and that when a lady is about to give birth is when you have a lot of distress. But I must also say that how you treat that lady when she's in labor matters a lot, because after the delivery, the lady will still remember how you treated them, how crude you are, how rude you are to them. So I think in the laboring process, we must be very careful to treat the lady in such a manner that we do not jeopardize the health of the child that we expect to be delivered.
Very good point to finish. Yes, Wakili.
Yeah, so we are saying that this country is ripe for innovations. We want to fix our security. We want to fix our spending as a government. We want to fix our corruption issues. And it is very simple. You only need to make those people who have been involved in any corrupt scandal to be brought into book and pay for their sins.
Asante sana. Daktari, tumalizie tafadhali.
I think, Oloo, I have two things to really mention. One is about the fundraising.
30 seconds, yes.
The fundraising in this country, Oloo, I believe the authority that came by, that civil servants or those who are working are denied to conduct fundraising. I think it was based on an ill-informed kind of environment. Although, to be very specific, I'm the product of the fundraisings which was done during my school days. And our community or society or our Kenyans cannot survive without the fundraisings. So we cannot rule out the fundraising just because of some few individuals who abused up the whole process. So that thing, I think the president should reconsider to bring back the spirit of fundraising in this country. Number two, as you go back, I want to ask the member of parliament from Kibra, consider also removing the debt ceiling from 10 trillion to some upper limit. Because when you say the president should do A, B, C, D, when you know that the financial bill that was proposed was rejected, it means you are tying up the hands of the president. That it's like telling your lady cook without unga. And that cannot be a possibility. So if we cannot get it from our financial bill, it means we need to borrow. If we have to borrow, we have reached already the debt ceiling.
Are you sure you want us to? Are you sure you want us to? Are you sure you want us to?
No, I'm just suggesting.
Can we give his number on air so that we say hi to him?
That is what we.
Do you want us to finish this?
As
we are running out of time.
Because one, the Auditor General, the Office of the Auditor General, has raised a lot of issues on this money that we borrow. We cannot trace where it is coming from, what it has done, and how it has been utilized. And the debt ceiling, it is put because we know our capacity as a country. Our budget is for about 4.1 trillion.
Yes.
And if we are, the last time we raised 2.9 trillion on the revenue alone. So we must look at how we can raise. Waweru, the late Waweru, during the Kibaki's time at KRA, he was able to raise revenue and supported the government system. So we just need to be meticulously aware of how we raise this revenue within ourselves and avoid international borrowing. We have local borrowing, we reduce the bank rates and all that. But before I finish,
Salam.
I have to say hi to Kibra people.
Okay, go ahead.
Me, I'm a politician. You know, they are the ones who brought me here. I must say thank you for always having trust in me.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm inherently and by my position as a member of parliament of the bedroom, I must always vote no. Especially when it is affecting the common man.
Yes.
Because we are the largest, almost the largest slum. So my people are directly affected. And this bill was, if it went through, we would not even, some of my people don't even cannot take 2 meals, leave alone one.
Yeah.
So we have to fight so that this government brings the prices of commodities down to bearable terms.
10 trillion. I told you, you're opening another can of worms here. Okay. Gentlemen, we are taking this to a close right now, but just remember that our sister country is going to an election right now. Rwanda is choosing their next president. Of course, Paul Kagame has been there for the last 30 years in now seeking to have that mandate for the next 5 years. There are 3 candidates. One of them is Frank Habineza, who is 47 years old, and Philippe Mpiamimana, who is 54 years old. So
they should set term limits.
5 years, and he's running for
Should we congratulate the incoming president
but
now
let the best win.
We have to wait until
of course, Kagame is going to
let the best win.
9 points, but of course he's well.
May the best man win.
Yes, that's
what do you think? He's stabilized that country, so most
May
likely.
the best man win.
Kagame is going to be the next president
for the next 5 years.
Yeah, but
we
are just praying that now he should leave a legacy by putting term limits. He has stabilized the country. Somebody should pick.
Yeah, the constitution was crafted in such a way that it removed that term limit for him. So he's been running there since 1994. The Hutus and the Tutsis. All right.
Are you sure he's winning fairly? He's not interfering with the
last election gave him 98%.
Are you sure that 98% is fair?
Raised a lot of concern.
But we have no problem with Kagame. He said that it is time to listen to the Gen Zs. Actually, he made a quote that it is time to listen to the young people before their issues blow out of proportion.
Yes.
So as Gen Zs, we are also adopting friends.
But somebody was appreciating the Gen Zs of Kenyans. They are saying, you see, what the Tanzanians are saying, they said you are so informed, so learned, that you are able to question the government
Sisi
and
ni
change the
watu,
mindset
sisi ni watu
of the
wa
government.
iPhone na bundles.
And I really
Na KFC,
appreciate you are using
na KFC. Mheshimiwa, have you been, Daktari, have you been to KFC?
All right. Thank
That's
you so
one
much.
of the ingredients of changing the country. You must go to KFC.
Thank you so much.
KFC does not Kenya Football Club. It's not Kenya Football Club. Mheshimiwa Peter Orero representing the great people of Kibra. Thank you so much for joining us. I have Eric Muturi. What do they? People of Kiambu. He's here. He's here.
You know, they said they don't want Mutu and Ndudi. They want a person with tanks. Now here the tanks are leaking.
Sasa wewe. Wakili, Franco Cherry, thank you so much for coming.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
I also come from a
so
place.
much,
Yes.
I also come from a place, my village. Okay, if this is an opportunity to greet my village people,
Kuna KFC
nasema
huko?
hi.
Amen.
Kuna
Yes.
KFC huko?
But which village?
I come from Nyaribari Chacha constituency.
Really Kosoro.
Very good.
No,
Thank you for watching.
some
Thank you
guy
for watching.
called
Director.
Zahir Janda.
The one on
Bye-bye.
Al
Thank you for
Jazeera.
watching.
That is your MP.
The one who takes the role of the president and starts warning Kenyans about.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you, Oloo.
Asante sana.
May God bless you. My
You too.
brother.
Thank you so
God bless
much.
you so much.